And a very pleasant Tuesday evening to everyone. Welcome to Ridgecrest Talk. And our theme, as always, on Tuesday night is sports, community sports, team sports. And by popular demand, we brought Justus back for a second round. And he'll be around this year. He's also one of the top I would say football college level prediction type people when it comes to that. He's only lost a little bit less than I have when we've wagered some things, but other than that, very knowledgeable about all sports, played college baseball. But in our last time we got together a week ago, we talked some about Saracoso baseball and recruiting, and I want to just maybe dedicate more time to that tonight as the days have passed by some. And Justus, go ahead and go into detail about what the future up here is going to bring this coming school year.
Well, you know, I'm excited up to this point. We still have a few more weeks to try to land some key positions, but as of now, we have 6 outfielders coming in, all new. Kid from Northern California, one from Palmdale, one from Moreno Valley, one from Colorado, and then, you know, like we talked about last week, Biggie from Burroughs. We got a couple middle infielders coming in, one from Lancaster area, one from Vegas. Got a couple first basemen coming in, one from Northern California, one from Vegas. Got a Vegas catcher. Got Jeremiah Johnson, local guy, for a catcher. We got Angel coming back. He's one of our returners. One of the 5 guys that are going to come back. And then we're still kind of on the hunt for a third baseman. We have one coming in from Arizona, but we're looking for another one. Ideally, someone that could catch and play third base, kind of fill both roles. That would be ideal. And right now we have 7 arms that I'm confident are committed and will be here. So right now, in the next couple of weeks, we need 3 or 4 arms, and maybe another guy to kind of patrol the left side of the infield.
Okay. Let's talk about returners that you had from last year's team that are going to be back this year. And let's start with, you know, the infield and the pitching. And what do we have roster-wise that was here from last year that'll be back this year?
Sure. You know, Angel Gardinas, who ended up, he wasn't slated at the beginning of the year to catch a lot. But we had some injuries, and Omar, who primarily was catching at the beginning, had to move to the infield a little bit, which he handled good. And Angel did a very good job, you know, battling and competing behind the plate. Blocked very well.
He did block very well.
You know, it was one of those things where, you know, and Angel was out of it for about a year. You know, again, baseball's kind of a perishable skill. You lose some stuff, even in a year. So I foresee him being better this year. You know, so he's back. And on the mound, that's where most of our returners are coming. We got Kane White, left-handed pitcher, yeah. Pitches nice. You know, he's got command of 3 pitches. He didn't play last year because he was redshirted, even though he was going to be a sophomore. Grade-wise, he struggled, I guess, as a freshman, and had to need a semester to get back eligible. So he's redshirted. He's coming back as a sophomore. Rashad Jones, big left-hander who got some innings last year. And then Daryl Allen, another left-hander. Who came in at the break. Played a little outfield for us last year. But he's certainly going to help us on the mound.
Okay.
You know, he was the guy that last year, especially the second half of the season, that when he pitched, you know, we were in most games. We competed. He competes. You know, the defense last year let him down and let all our guys on the mound down for the most part. You know, we got Scott Flynn, a little right-hander who didn't throw it all last year. Came in hurt, so he was redshirted. Got a medical red shirt. So we'll see. He's a guy that towards the end of the spring was kind of throwing some bullpens and throwing some inter-squad games. You know, so we'll see how he does. And then Eric Dalpies, switching back to position guys. He's played a little second last year. Broke his arm when he started to get in the lineup.
Yes.
You know, 2 days after he got in the lineup, he broke a forearm. You know, but so he's coming back, and he'll add some depth to the middle infield.
And he actually, Eric Dalpies, got into maybe the third to last week or close to it. He didn't have a hit yet, and then he reeled off, multiple hits the last 3 weeks. He really made good of opportunities when he got healthy and everything. So I think he could help you in certain spots. Good utility guy there. So it looks like a whole fresh new batch of folks coming in, and looks like a whole brand new outfield the way it's going right now. And well, that sounds pretty exciting to have all those young arms. And I know you have a player that was going to attend Western Nevada, but evidently they're dropping their program. Is that
correct? I've heard both, that they're going to drop it after this coming season.
Okay. I see.
But I've also heard that they've raised enough money to make it 2 seasons. So I'm not sure. I know that the athletics at Western Nevada are very pricey. As far as, because they have to travel, they fly by plane to certain places. Their conference is spread out. But yeah, we have a first baseman, Austin Garcia, that was at Western Nevada last year, and he's going to attend Saracosa. Big, strong first baseman.
As a sophomore, correct?
As a redshirt freshman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was redshirted at Western Nevada. He's about 6'3", about 230.
Wow.
He's got some power. And again, the fall is going to be crucial for him, because a lot of times when you get redshirted, especially at a community college, really most places what you get to do is just swing the bat in the cage. Mm-hmm. So he's going to have to get fine-tuned with the glove and get some live reps. But he's certainly got a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm. And you also have the young man that was redshirted at Mendocino College. Is that correct? And he's from your neck of the woods, up by Sacramento area.
Yeah, Northern California. Tegan Mowry. He's a very interesting kid. I've known him since he was about 12, 11 or 12. At a high school, he signed a football scholarship to Fresno State with kind of the idea that he was also going to be on the baseball team, kind of preferred walk-on. He hurt his knee his senior year of high school, baseball. So the football thing didn't work out, and he went to Mendocino and rehabbed all year, and he's coming to us. So another kid that's has a lot of potential. He's now a fielder first baseman. Big, strong kid, 6'3", 220.
Oh, boy.
So we got some guys that potentially could drive the baseball out of the park.
Wow. You're going to look a lot different getting out of the vans or a bus this year.
We need new uniforms. So.
All right. That's our first thing. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go away. This is Ridgecrest Talk right here on KZGN. And welcome back. If you just tuned in, this is Tuesday night Ridgecrest Talk. Our theme, as always, is sports, athletics, and we've talked a little bit in our first segment about recruiting up at Saracosa, and I want to talk now. I want to continue with Saracosa baseball as our main picture, but let's talk about the schedule. Now, last year, you guys opened up into the non-conference schedule with folks like West Los Angeles. You played Imperial Valley. You didn't have the traditional Antelope Valley, but I know this year they're on the schedule. You also played a very tough team and up by the Newhall area, College of the Canyons, very good program there. And I believe you played Taft over at their tournament. So what does the schedule have this year for you?
It's similar, a little bit different. We opened up with Southwest, 2-game set, which last year I loved going down there. Great program.
Chula Vista.
Yeah, great head coach. And to me, they're kind of a gauge. And that's why I told him on the phone, you guys are going to be my gauge of how much we're improving. He thought that was kind of funny because he thought somebody else should be my gauge, like somebody in the Orange Empire. But anyway, so we opened up with Southwest. We got Imperial Valley on the schedule again, home and away. We're not playing West LA. We've picked up AVC, home and away. We have Pasadena coming to our place. We're in the Taft tournament again against LA Harbor, Taft, and Colleges Sequoias. Taft is also coming to us. So it's a little bit different. We certainly have more home games. We had 13 last year, and this year we have 17. 17 home and 19 on the road. So that's a huge huge deal.
Yeah, saves a little bit of money too.
Yeah.
We don't have to pump the gas
Correct.
and go and everything. So great. Now the league this year, traditionally the Foothill Conference, the years I've been around, and I've 14 years where I've done baseball games on the radio and internet and seen most of them at home and about half on the road. The Foothill Conference, in comparison to the rest of the state, probably a little bit weaker, and I should say Southern California, just because maybe the teams are not quite from the baseball belt. Some of them are, and Rio Hondo is really good as anybody. San Bernardino, very good. Usually they're kind of up and down some. Chaffee traditionally, and then after that, really, it's been programs that have just greatly struggled over the last 5, 6, 7 years when it comes to outside competition. So, and I know that Justus played Division I baseball, so he knows what higher levels are. And I think that you mentioned that even though last year, you put together kind of a group, we were still competitive in what we would probably consider a below average ability from top to bottom conference. But this year, I think, I believe that it'll be a tougher conference. Victor Valley has a new coach. They improved greatly. They have just been a doormat, and they improved. Barstow's been a doormat, and they're better. You guys will make a big jump next year and compete with everyone probably. And Chaffee was down last year. They'll be better. They just have to be in that area there. And Rio Hondo and San Bernardino, we expect them to be good. And Desert, I kind of picked Desert to finish at the bottom, although you never know what is picked up over the course of the year. So after a year now, and you reflect, how do you see the league?
Basically, you just explained it. I mean, it's good baseball, and it's not the best in Southern California, but again, it's good baseball. You got 3 or 4 teams that you have to be very good and play almost perfect baseball to beat, and then you got 2 or 3 teams that are kind of in the same boat that. Anybody could beat anybody, and that's the beauty about baseball. So, next year could be totally different. That's kind of the beauty about community college baseball, junior college baseball. That from one year to the next, it changes from eligibility issues to guys just not being happy for playing time, even though they might have split time and they leave, or somebody getting somebody, 4-year school getting somebody after a freshman year, which happens on occasion. So it's always a big turnaround. The teams that were good last year probably still going to be good. They might not be as good, or they might be better, and the teams that were in the cellar might be a lot better, or might be the same. You just you never know.
Yeah, that's true. Well, traditionally, some of those cellar dwellers have been traditionally cellar dwellers. However, you have new blood over at Victor Valley, new blood over at Barstow. Now I'm talking coaches, that is, and Desert, relatively new coach over there. And again, how hard does a program recruit? That's a big thing. And in Chaffee at San Bernardino, that's a very good baseball area, but you got a lot of people fighting over the top players, so makes it interesting. But you look at last year, and you beat Chaffee over at Chaffee, and this year, or it started 2 years ago, the league now you play 4 times, everybody, versus 3 in the older days. And they used to play double headers, which they don't do anymore, which adds another twist to things, whether it's good or bad. But what you did last year, you had San Bernardino at home on the ropes. I mean, you almost knocked them off. You knocked off Chaffee, and you were competitive another time with them. You were competitive with Rio Hondo, 1-run loss at Rio. So really, you look at the top teams, even with what you had last year, as you orchestrated, you made them competitive, and now this year, you've got a lot more, basically, ammunition when you go to war. So I think you guys will be able to, play with anybody this year, and give credit to Barstow and Victor Valley. They're going to be, they're going to have to be beaten too. So I think the league definitely has the potential to go up. How long the league's going to stay intact, I don't know. I want to talk about that in our last segment. But I think there's some better days ahead for the Foothill Conference on that. And I think, the thing that makes it maybe just a tad under, and correct me if I'm wrong, would be maybe the arms, not quite the depth of the arms.
Absolutely, that's what it all boils down to is the depth of arms and just again the quality of your top three starters. Certainly your top two starters. Again, like we talked about last week, there's a difference in 84 to 87, and there's a difference between 89 and 92. And again, a lot of these teams in the Orange Empire and down there in San Diego, they tend to pull some of those guys where even Rio and Chaffee and San Bernardino have great pitching. They're just a notch down compared to that top flight guy that some of these other schools are pulling in.
Okay, we're going to take our break, and then we'll be back for our third segment. Don't go away. This is Ridgecrest Talk right here, Tuesday night on KZGN. And welcome back. If you just tuned in, this is Tuesday night. I'm Tom Heck, Justus Scott, Justus, a head baseball coach at Saracoso, and we've talked a little bit about everything recruiting. We've talked about his schedule, the Foothill Conference, and let's talk about and expand the state right now, junior college baseball. And I know you also coach at the community college level, junior college level, down in the Southeast. How does the state of California maybe compare with the NJCAA schools? Now, the NJCAA schools, some of those schools can give scholarship money. The state of California has its own championships, or governed in a different government authority type, so to say, which there are no scholarships. Recruiting now has been opened up, but where do you see California in the mix of all the NJCAA regions and areas?
Well, I think as a whole, the state of California, and it's been like this for a long time, is just top-notch baseball. At the two-year level, it's tremendous baseball. I think for some years it's probably the best in the country. And then other years there might be another region that, there's teams in Texas and Florida and throughout the Southeast. And Iowa Western, I think, has won 3 national championships in the last 5 years. So there's good baseball everywhere. There's good junior college baseball across the country, but certainly, Southern California is every year has got to be up there.
Mm-hmm. Now, Division I baseball, and we just had the NCAA World Series just a few weeks ago, and again, pitching was a big thing in Virginia and Vanderbilt. Virginia ended up winning that, and Virginia, just to show you how baseball, kind of the motto for baseball is, what have you done for me lately? Well, Virginia, who won the NCAA, barely, and I mean barely, made it into the regional. The regional is the first step you have to take, and if you win your region, then you go to the super regionals and play a best-of-3 series with someone, and then you get sent to Omaha to play in the 8-team World Series. Well, Virginia had to win their league tournament to even get to the regional tournament. They had a very mediocre year, but like last year, they turned on the afterburners, and look what happened. So, but in Division I baseball, Justus, how come teams aren't given, let's just say, 20 full-ride scholarships? Why do they only have, I believe, 13, 14, maybe scholarships that they have to pretty much break up? What's
Well, they have 11.7, which has been, as long as I can remember, the amount of scholarships they have. And again, it's a great question. It might change here in a few years. I know that's something they're talking about just because of the notoriety of baseball, college baseball, that it's ESPN2, they have a college baseball network now, that it's expanding. And I think that's what it all boils down to, that the revenue that the school generates off baseball is still lacking compared to baseball and football, obviously. But again, you see the fans out in Omaha, how many of these regionals, and it's one of those things that might bump up. But then again, the argument is, sure, Vanderbilt could afford 20 scholarships, but you name another school out in the Midwest that doesn't draw a lot, they should still get 20. But it might hurt them, their athletic budget. So again, it's always been that way. Just baseball has kind of been the third tier in college behind men's football, men's hoops, and understandably why. The spectator sport.
The other thing that was intriguing, I thought, when they go into the regionals, and again, like UCLA was number 1 in the nation. They're the number 1 ranked team. Louisville was the number 3 ranked team for a lot of the season. And both of those teams did not make it to Omaha. In fact, UCLA didn't get out of the first round. They were beaten at home by Maryland, and everybody was a little bit on the shock side. Do you think that if you are ranked in the top 5, top 10, that you should have a free pass to the Super Regionals? Or do you think, you know what, you had a great year, but hey, you still have to win 2 more games? I mean, is there a fairness to all this, or is it just, you know what, you had a great season, you won 40 games, you lost 8 games, but you know what, you have an injury or two, you go into that regional, you lose your first game, and now you got to fight your way back. I mean, is there a happy medium for people?
You know, I don't think so. I think it's one of those things where, it's great to be ranked, and obviously those are great teams. You know, UCLA, for example. But when it comes down to it, you got to win in the playoffs. I think, UCLA would say the same thing. They're baseball personnel. So it's, again, and the RPI ratings has an effect, and also just the rankings are so subjective that, again, you'd be 40-8, and there could be a team that's 32-7. Or 32-12, I should say, and might be a better team than you. And if you meet up, then so again, it's very subjective. So you see so much parity now in college baseball that there's so many more teams that are kind of outside that top 25 that you're used to seeing for the last 10, 12 years. That look at TCU, what they've done in the last 7 or 8 years. They're now a powerhouse, and nobody ever heard of them. You look at Dallas Baptist. I mean, so they're popping up all over the place, kind of like men's basketball. They've been getting pretty close to fielding 64 teams that can play. So.
Yeah. Dallas Baptist, that was a school that just kind of came out of nowhere, and boom, and they were very competitive right off the bat. And I haven't, somebody asked me about that, and I haven't figured that one out yet. Some I could figure out, but that one has always intrigued me a great deal. Well, in our last few minutes, Justus, let's leave on the note of Saracoso baseball. I know you want to maybe. I'll give you a few more minutes to talk about your camps coming up, and for those that didn't get to watch last week, you're still running those camps, and talk about how they can get a hold of you. And I believe you have a camp, the 3rd week camp, coming up in a few weeks. Is that correct?
No, this week is it, but you can still sign up.
Okay.
So just make sure you get a hold of me and work on the off our website. Pull the flyer, give me a call. My cell phone's on there, and we can get you signed up this week.
Okay, and I think that camps are a great opportunity to learn fundamentals, correct?
No, absolutely, and that's really what it's driven towards. Some fundamentals in all aspects, your offensive game, your defensive game, and base running. Some things that probably aren't touched upon at the younger levels, even though they should be. So it's certainly a big fundamental week of camp, and we're just touching upon it. We could probably do a 10-hour camp every day.
And pitching in our last few minutes. Do you think, and I'm asked this, what is a good age for kids to start learning different grips on baseballs?
Well, great question. I don't think you should throw anything that spins, that you're breaking, breaking balls and sliders until you're shaving. I mean, I know there's the other school of thought, if you have proper mechanics and proper grip, you're fine. I don't believe it. I just think it's too much stress on a young arm and tendons. To me, it's 14, 15 when you start breaking them off. Now, there are some kind of pitches just with grip, kind of some change-ups, slip changes that you can throw when you're younger. You get a little movement because, again, kids can hit fastballs even at 9.
All right, Justus, appreciate you stopping by. We'll talk to you again. Hope you enjoyed our show tonight. Ridgecrest Talk every Tuesday night, our sports theme. And we ask and hope that you have a very pleasant, good Tuesday evening.